let's talk psychedelics. So, I've seen a lot of bro podcasts on this topic of people walking through their shroom trips. So I'm like, why not just share my version? And yeah, so I took shrooms twice, maybe more than twice. But my really profound trips that I feel like were only accessible on shrooms came from these two instances. There were definitely more microdosing instances that I had to where I was able to experience life with a rose-colored lens, if you will. Kind of just more optimistic, more open, because scientifically, shrooms are allowing all of the parts of your brain to connect. And our brains are designed to be efficient and cut out connections that no longer serve us. Kind of similar to writing a line of code. You don't want so many lines of code. If you're a good programmer, you keep the lines of code to a minimum, I guess. You try to keep it efficient because you're just telling it what you want and how you want it in detail. Shrooms allow the mind to wander a bit because it connects all of the neural parts in your brain that are not normally connected probably because it's deemed inefficient. And I think a part of how that manifests into form is if I'm doing shrooms with someone else, my inefficiency is that I'm so caught up in the moment and the feeling of experiencing the world that I'm not necessarily pouring into the other person, or that I'm really not thinking about how our relationship will work long term, or this, that, and the other. I'm just so fucking immersed in the moment that maybe I don't think about integrating with them. But who knows? Maybe that's also just part of my journey. Anyway, shroom trip number 1 was the first time ever, summertime. I was with a friend with a backyard pool, and there's floaties in the pool, and we were just kind of floating in them as it tripped, and it kind of hits you slowly because it's edible, but I've done it other ways too with my brother, that when you eat it, it kind of diffuses into tea in a way, and it hits you faster. Nevertheless, it took some time. We were eating and all this stuff, so it kind of altered the way it hit me. But when it did, I don't know how much I ate to get this experience, but it was a decent portion. And at that point, I was just laying there, and one of the profound things that just hit me is I had just come back from Bali, and in Bali, there is this hotel in the center of a boot that is really connected to the culture in the city, and they put on these beautiful performances with locals that are very I guess just very uncensored and very much the culture. It's not put through any lens of what the hotel wants it to be, because the owner of the hotel or the director is very keen on making it a place that preserves culture amongst hospitality. Anyway, and so they had this whole dance, a fire dance. It's coming to me. A fire dance with the 3 Hindu gods, the creator, the nurturer, and the destroyer. There's other names for this too, but those are kind of their archetypal energies. And there's this really intricate fire dance that they were showing how the gods fight each other, and how they work together, how they work separately, how they collaborate, what impact that has on the rest of the gods in the god kingdom. So it was a lot the first time I watched it, because I didn't have any context of the gods. Like, I didn't like research anything. I just went in cold. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's just like energetically in Bali, everything's so fucking profound that you know it means something deeper, even though you're not exactly sure how. And there was little kids with me too, which felt like an initiation moment, because they were also like magnetized and they wanted an explanation from their parents, and their parents, you could tell, were not ready to kind of explain it to them. I don't know if they ever will or were, but I don't know. It was just a moment where I was very immersed. And so with my shroom trip, I got sent back to that moment. And for me, it was explained to me how that play related to the rest of my life and what lesson I was supposed to walk away with, in a way, and something applicable to the energies that I allow in my space. And so I started reflecting on all the people in my life, and I'm like, who is my co-creator? Who is someone that destruction is a thing, as in we destroy old patterns or we destroy good things. Like, it's on both extremes in a way. Creation, destruction, and nurturing. Who is someone that has nurtured the woman that I want to be? Who is somebody that I nurture? Who is, and sometimes these things cross over, but for me in that moment, it was very clear to me, in the case of guys that I was letting into my life, even like casually dating or whatever, I was like, oh, you both destroy me and I need to destroy you, motherfucker. And so, but, but it was beautiful because it showed to me that there are deeper lessons hidden in these moments that we have. And perhaps our subconscious mind processes them, but also taking a conscious moment. If something sticks out to you and you don't understand it, to not just brush it off. Because sometimes when I'm traveling or when I'm just really in the field, I used to not pay as conscious attention to the things happening around me. Maybe it was a lack of presence or just like a early onset innocence that kind of preserved that energy, like a child, as in when a kid is witnessing something that they're curious of, getting them to like dig deeper into something is really challenging because their attention is so quick. But part of the wisdom of the living experience is knowing that there are so many, almost arguably everything we go through has some underlying lesson to teach us. Like, it can be as simple as not bitching about doing the house chores and understanding that you're cleaning your space and setting intention. And that kind of was the profound thing that came over me. But it was also beautiful to see like the geometric shapes in the trees, because again, I was floating in a fucking pool, but I was so like melted into the world and it felt like it was hugging me from underneath because I was floating. I think that's really a beautiful part that I've realized that I really enjoy when I'm doing shrooms, because it lets me fully get immersed in the experience. So yeah, geometric shapes, which is also apparently when your brain is all connected, you're trying to find patterns in the world and you are able to develop new patterns beyond just the shape of like a glass or a tree or whatever. You see more things, and it's a jarring moment because you also realize that our perception of the current world is just our most efficient render of what we believe a pattern to be. Like, if we think that this tree is shaped that way, then it's just gonna always look like that every day. But on shrooms, that tree could be changing forms, and it's all of the parts of your brain connected. It's not something outside of you, it's literally your mind reconnected in its truest form. So it's beautiful, and it feels divine in a way, because I think we all want to connect to ourselves as deeply as we can. So going on that journey was nuts. But yeah, I mean, I don't do it often. I don't even know the last time I really did it, because I haven't been in a place where it was like legally safe or whatever, so I didn't do it in like a few months. Nor do I even know where to get it. There's some places that it's more, I don't know, there's loopholes, but other ones are not so much. Like legal loopholes, as in like you can actually get it from a place of business in a legal way. But here in Australia, for instance, it's just very medical grade, 30 grand, supervised by a physician. But I know that there's also retreats that would be really interesting to go to on the West Coast or DC. So that's an idea, a concept. Now, second rather large shroom trip that I had too was in this beautiful shipping container house with my Korean friends in Michigan. And gosh, we were, and it was in the wilderness. It was on like a kind of a equestrian area, like a farm in a way. But there was a hot tub. Yeah. But in that moment, I was on that couch, kind of tripping. Getting made probably some fucking ramen or some shit. And it was emotional for me. It was so largely emotional because I felt how profound that the life that I'm experiencing is me. Like, that I am the vessel. Like, that we have so much power over the reality we experience, essentially, is what I experienced. And just realizing how big of a part me and how I act and what energy I carry plays in shaping the world around me. And I knew this on the surface before, but I felt it as a lesson in a more deeper, energetic way. It like hardens lessons in your mind. I think that's kind of the function of it. Because a lot of people say when you do shrooms once, you're never going to be the same. And I get that. I don't think it's as jarringly scary as that may sound. It's more like there's certain things that you already know that are so deeply understood that consciously it's just, yeah, you won't be the same. But at that point, like, I would say a lot of it mirrors near-death experience, and it does follow similar neurological experiences. So that's something I had already experienced and kind of like had that leap that was not controlled by me consciously. So I guess I had already experienced that leap, so I wanted to know what it felt like to consciously choose it. And I feel like that's a recurring theme for me. Like, I like to consciously choose things that maybe I was not able to have a choice of before. Like a coping mechanism, perhaps. But honestly, a kind of cool one, but it can get dangerous real fast, because then start you can start doing things that are harmful and call it like, oh, I'm just practicing my conscious choices. And it's like, well, Veronica, you're not making good ones, so it doesn't matter if you're practicing choice. Yeah. What are some other trips? I mean, other trips too, like, I never trip to this expansive energy at my family home ever. And sometimes I'm like, is it because I take different things at my family home versus at other places? But I think it's just like the state of my mind that I'm stuck in at home. Maybe feels arguably more safe, but also very limited to expansion. Like, I never have an expansive trip at home. I maybe will get immersed in like my real life or whatever, but I don't realize the profound nature of the world around me at home. Home for me is just home, which is also really interesting. Um, but I also know that there are a lot of things in my psychology that are blacked out for me. Like, I don't recall certain things that happened. And I know a lot of people say that, but like, to really experience that is a little scary. Like, there's parts of your reality that are just blacked out. And not that you vaguely can't remember them, but like your mind full-heartedly is blocking something, because when you go back and you try to remember it and you get a flicker of, oh shit, I do remember that, but my brain's protecting me. Like, it's a feeling you receive. So perhaps I still do that on shrooms. I might, there's different triggers that kind of like, you don't want that to happen. So yeah, which I could see that. I probably don't allow myself. I'm vaguely aware of how I limit myself to that. Yeah. So nature is a good part. I don't know if that helps. If that's enough information. I'm sure there was probably more trips too. Again, just interesting to fully experience that. And to have the world, like, tables shapeshift, the floor kind of starts warping a little, but it's not, it's, I think medically you say it's like hallucinations, but it's not. It's more so the patterns your brain is recognizing begin altering because your perception of reality is fluid in that moment. Which is like, it's again back to this code conversation, it's like a wonky code. It's still the same code for running the same program, but perhaps it goes about it in a different way. But sometimes that's where you find the best solutions, are in things that you wouldn't expect. Yeah. Psychedelics.